Okay, so welcome back. Now, let's look at the comparison or the relationship between degrees and radians. Okay, so I mentioned this before, but now let's go through a table. And these are the ones that you're going to want to memorize. Okay, so especially these two columns here, these are the decimals. But I typically, now again, you probably want to familiarize yourself with these because they do come up and will come up in problems. But these are the typical relationships. So 0 is 0, right? So that doesn't change. 90 degrees is the same as pi over 2 radians. 180 degrees is pi radians, as you've seen before, right? So it's easy to get from 180 over pi, 180 degrees equals pi radians by just dividing to 90 degrees when you just divide by 2. Okay, you're just cutting the angle in half. Okay. So 90 degrees equals pi over 2 radians, 180 degrees equals pi radians, 270 degrees is 3 pi over 4 radians, and 360 degrees is 2 pi radians. Notice that 360 degrees and 0 are the same. Okay, so typically these are the four that we're going to focus on. Okay, so these are the ones you want to know. Also, because this is just 0 across the board, so that's not going to change. But here are the decimal equivalents. Okay, so make sure you know these. So for example, if you're given an angle, let's say, what is it, 3.402. Okay, so immediately we can see that this angle in radians is what? It's what quadrant does it fall into? Well, it's bigger than 180 degrees and less than 270. So this is in the third quadrant. Okay, so what are we going to do? Well, just like in degrees, when it's in the third quadrant, when we're dealing with angles in degrees, what did we do? Well, if it's in the third quadrant, what? We subtracted 180 degrees, right? So if we're in the third quadrant, we subtract 180 degrees. Well, in this case, 180 degrees is pi. So we're going to subtract pi, right? So the way we handle it is the same. So this is going to be, so again, what are we looking for? We're looking for the reference angle, if you will. So if we take 3.402 and subtract pi, and again, use your calculator, the pi key in your calculator to subtract pi. Don't use 3.145 or something, or 3.1415. And so what do we get? Well, we get approximately 0.260. As our answer. Now what if we got 5.210? What if we start with 5.210? 5.210. Now, where does that end up? Well, 5.210 is bigger than 270, right? Bigger than that. And less than 360 degrees. So we are in the fourth quadrant. So how do we find the reference angle if we're in the fourth quadrant? Well, we have to subtract this angle from what? 2 pi. So it's going to be 2 pi minus this. So in other words, to find the reference angle, we're going to take 2 pi minus 5.210. And again, use your calculator and the pi key. And so if you do that, you get what? You get 1.073. Was it 703? Did I look it wrong? Hold on. Yeah, 073. I was right the first time. So 073. Okay, so now notice that all we're doing is the same thing that we did with degrees. We're using the same formulas, right? Just in radians to find the reference angles. And once we know the reference angles, then we can use our trig functions like we did in degrees. Okay, we'll cover that next time.